Last night, Jennifer Lopez and Joy Behar clashed on live TV, and viewers are already calling it the most uncomfortable moment in daytime television this year. What began as a routine appearance on The View spiraled into a tense, emotionally charged confrontation that left the audience frozen, the co-hosts stunned, and the internet lighting up within minutes. Before we go any further, subscribe to Prime Talk, hit like, and comment right now, because this is exactly where we break down the moments celebrities never expect and never forget. The studio lights were bright, familiar, almost comforting. The View had done this thousands of times before. Applause cues were ready. Cue cards sat neatly stacked. The audience buzzed with that gentle daytime energy, coffee cups still warm in their hands, smiles ready for a global superstar. Jennifer Lopez was coming out. Icon, performer, survivor of decades under the microscope. She walked onto the stage to thunderous applause. Jennifer smiled, waved, hugged each host in sequence. Whoopi's embrace was warm. Sunny nodded with admiration. Sarah beamed. Joy Behar leaned in last, smiling wide, eyes sharp. Cameras caught every angle as Jennifer took her seat, crossing her legs gracefully, posture perfect. She looked calm, polished, in control. But there was something else there too, something guarded. Joy wasted no time. "So Jennifer," she began, leaning back in her chair, voice casual but pointed, "you've been everywhere lately. Movies, music, documentaries, relationships. Some people are saying, it feels like a bit much." A soft ripple ran through the audience. Jennifer blinked once. "A bit much," she repeated, tone even. Joy smiled, tilting her head. "Well, you know, at a certain point, people start wondering, are you sharing because it's art, or because you need attention?" The air changed instantly. Whoopi shifted in her seat. Sunny's eyebrows lifted. Sarah glanced quickly toward the audience. Jennifer's smile didn't vanish, but it tightened, like it had been pulled back just enough to reveal something sharper underneath. "I don't think self-expression has an expiration date," Jennifer said carefully. Applause followed, but hesitant, unsure. Joy chuckled lightly. "Of course, but when your personal life becomes the headline every other week." "Joy," Jennifer interrupted softly, but firmly, "my work has always been personal." The audience murmured. Joy raised a hand. "I'm just saying, some viewers feel overwhelmed." Jennifer leaned back slightly, eyes locked now on Joy. Overwhelmed by what? A woman being visible. The crowd reacted louder this time. A mix of applause and gasps. Joy smiled again, but her tone hardened. By repetition. Reinvention after reinvention. At some point, it starts to feel performative. That word landed heavy. Jennifer inhaled slowly. Inside, something shifted. You could see it. Years of interviews flashed behind her eyes. Years of smiling through judgment, of nodding politely while being dissected. Performative. Jennifer echoed. "I've spent my entire life performing. That's my job." Joy leaned forward. "But does the public need access to all of it?" The studio went quiet. Jennifer nodded slowly, choosing her words. "The public doesn't need anything. They choose what to watch." Whoopi cleared her throat. "All right, let's." But Joy wasn't done. "Jennifer," Joy continued, "don't you think sometimes celebrities confuse empowerment with overexposure?" That was it. Jennifer turned fully toward Joy now, posture straight, voice steady but charged. "Do you ask men that question?" The audience gasped audibly. Joy blinked. "This isn't about gender." Jennifer didn't break eye contact. It always becomes about gender when women are told they're doing too much just by existing loudly. Applause erupted, longer, stronger. Joy laughed nervously. "Oh, come on, I'm a feminist." Jennifer smiled, but it was no longer polite. "Then don't talk to me like I should shrink." Silence. The cameras zoomed in. You could hear someone in the audience whisper, "Oh wow." Sunny leaned forward. "Jennifer has a point." Joy waved her off. "I'm allowed to ask tough questions. And I'm allowed to answer honestly," Jennifer shot back. The tension was thick now, palpable. Producers backstage stared at their monitors, unsure whether to cut to commercial or let it ride. This wasn't scripted. This wasn't safe. Joy crossed her arms. "You seem defensive." Jennifer nodded once. "That's what happens when women defend themselves. We get labeled." A wave of applause washed over the set. Joy shook her head. "Nobody's attacking you." Jennifer leaned in. "Then stop talking like I need justification." The audience stood, some clapping, some stunned, some unsure if they should be clapping at all. Whoopi finally stepped in. All right, let's take a breath. But the breath didn't come. Jennifer sat back, eyes still on Joy. Calm, composed, unyielding. I came here to talk about my work, she said. Not to be framed as a problem. Joy opened her mouth to respond, but the moment had already slipped away from her. The audience felt it. The hosts felt it. Jennifer felt it. This wasn't just a conversation anymore. It was a line being drawn, live, on national television. And the storm had only just begun. The silence after Jennifer's last sentence felt heavier than anything that had been said out loud. It wasn't the kind of silence daytime television was built for. It didn't invite laughter or commercial breaks. It demanded attention. Joy Behar sat back in her chair, lips pressed together, eyes narrowed just slightly, not angry, but challenged. And for Joy, being challenged on her own table was unfamiliar territory. Whoopi Goldberg shifted again, sensing the tension tipping from uncomfortable into combustible. Okay, she said calmly, voice carrying authority. Let's reset for a second. But Jennifer Lopez didn't look away. Her eyes stayed on Joy, steady and unflinching. Not aggressive. Not defensive. Just resolved. Joy exhaled sharply and leaned forward again. Jennifer, nobody is saying you're a problem. But you have to admit, you control your image very carefully. That invites scrutiny. Jennifer nodded slowly. Every woman in this business learns to do that just to survive. The audience reacted instantly. Applause broke out, louder than before, cutting Joy off mid-thought. Joy raised her eyebrows. So now it's survival. Yes, Jennifer said without hesitation. Because when women don't manage the narrative is used against them. Sunny Hostin jumped in. I think what Jennifer's saying. Joy turned slightly. Let me finish. Jennifer smiled faintly. That's interesting, she said. Joy looked back at her. What is? That you're asking me to listen, Jennifer replied. But you don't want to hear what I'm actually saying. A sharp gasp rippled through the audience. Joy laughed, but it sounded strained. Oh, please. No, Jennifer continued, voice calm but cutting. This is exactly what happens. A woman speaks honestly, and suddenly she's too sensitive or too defensive. Joy crossed her arms again. You're putting words in my mouth. Jennifer leaned forward now, closing the physical distance between them. Then tell me what you mean. The studio went dead quiet. Even the audience seemed afraid to move. Joy hesitated. Just for a moment. Long enough for the cameras to catch it. I mean, Joy said carefully, that constant exposure can backfire. Jennifer nodded. On who? The audience, Joy replied. Jennifer tilted her head. Or on the comfort level of people watching a woman refuse to fade out. Applause erupted again, this time from nearly the entire audience. A few people stood. Whoopi raised her hands, trying to calm the room. All right, Whoopi said. We're all friends here. Joy shook her head slightly. This is turning into something it's not. Jennifer smiled. Then maybe we should ask why it feels like it is. The words lingered, hanging between them like a challenge Joy hadn't expected to face this morning. Sarah Haynes tried to redirect. Jennifer, your documentary. But Joy interrupted her. Hold on. I want to say something. Jennifer leaned back, folding her hands together. Go ahead. Joy looked directly at her now. I've been in this business a long time. I've seen stars come and go. When I ask questions, it's not personal. Jennifer listened carefully, nodding once. But, Joy continued, sometimes people mistake criticism for cruelty. Jennifer replied instantly. And sometimes people disguise bias as curiosity. The audience exploded. Loud. Immediate. Uncontrolled. Joy's expression hardened. Are you saying I'm biased? Jennifer didn't raise her voice. She didn't smirk. She didn't flinch. I'm saying the question itself carries assumptions. Joy scoffed. About what? About who's allowed to take up space, Jennifer said. Sunny placed a hand on the table. That's a powerful point. Joy shook her head. This is ridiculous. Jennifer's tone softened, but only slightly. Joy, I grew up being told I was too much. Too loud. Too ambitious. Too visible. And I worked very hard not to internalize that. Joy sighed. So this is personal. Jennifer nodded. For every woman watching. The audience clapped again, slower this time, more emotional. Joy leaned back, clearly frustrated now. You're turning a simple question into a manifesto. Jennifer smiled sadly. Because simple questions don't exist when they are asked of women with power. The room felt split, not hostile, but divided. You could sense it in the audience, some nodding along with Jennifer, others uneasy with how far the exchange had gone. Whoopi finally stepped in more firmly. All right, we need to move forward. Joy looked at Jennifer one last time. I didn't mean to offend you. Jennifer met her gaze. Intent doesn't erase impact. Another audible reaction from the crowd. Joy opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time, she had no immediate comeback. The cameras zoomed out slightly, as if giving everyone room to breathe. Producers were already signaling for a break. This wasn't how the segment was supposed to go. This wasn't controlled. This wasn't safe. Jennifer adjusted in her seat, smoothing her outfit, reclaiming her composure. She looked calm now, but the calm of someone who had said exactly what needed to be said. Joy stared at the table, jaw tight. Whoopi nodded slowly, choosing her words carefully. We're going to take a quick break. Applause followed, but it wasn't celebratory. It was conflicted, charged, uncertain. As the cameras faded, one thing was clear to everyone in that studio. This wasn't a disagreement that would end with a commercial. It was a moment that would follow them all long after the lights went out. The red light above the main camera flicked off, and the word applause flashed on the screen. But the audience didn't know how to respond. Some clapped out of habit. Others stayed frozen, hands still, eyes darting between Jennifer and Joy. The break music played, cheerful and painfully out of place. Jennifer remained seated, posture straight, gaze forward. She didn't reach for her phone. She didn't whisper to anyone. She simply breathed, slowly, deliberately, like someone grounding herself after stepping into emotional fire. Joy, on the other hand, stood up immediately and turned away from the table. She adjusted her glasses, muttering something under her breath as a producer rushed over, leaning in close. Joy, we need to cool this down, the producer whispered urgently. Social media's already reacting. Joy waved her hand dismissively. I asked a question. That's my job. Across the table, Sunny leaned toward Jennifer. You okay? She asked softly. Jennifer nodded once. I'm good. But her eyes said something else. They were sharp, awake, fully present. This wasn't adrenaline anymore. It was resolve. Whoopi watched both sides carefully, veteran instincts kicking in. She'd seen blow-ups before. But this wasn't loud. This wasn't messy. This was controlled confrontation, and those were the hardest to diffuse. As the countdown to return from break began, tension thickened again. 10 seconds, someone called out. Joy sat back down, smoothing her blazer, her face resetting into a practiced half-smile. Jennifer turned slightly toward the table, hands folded. The cameras came back live. And we're back, Whoopi said, voice calm but firm. Jennifer Lopez is still with us. Polite applause followed. Whoopi looked directly at Joy. Before we move on, I want to say something. Conversations like this can get heated, but they are important. Let's keep it respectful. Joy nodded stiffly. Of course. Jennifer turned her head slightly. I agree. The audience leaned in again. Joy cleared her throat. Jennifer, if you felt attacked, that wasn't my intention. Jennifer met her eyes. I believe you, she said. But intention doesn't cancel how words land. Joy sighed. I just think celebrities sometimes forget how much power they have. Jennifer responded instantly. And I think people forget how much pressure comes with visibility. The audience reacted. Soft applause, thoughtful murmurs. Joy tilted her head. But don't you think you invite that pressure? Jennifer smiled gently. I accept it. I don't surrender to it. A beat. Joy looked momentarily caught off guard by the phrasing. Okay, she said. Then let me ask you this. Why share so much now? Jennifer paused. This time, the silence felt intentional. Because I spent years sharing only what made other people comfortable, she said. And I don't want to do that anymore. The room went quiet again. Sunny nodded slowly. Sarah's eyes softened. Even a few audience members wiped their eyes. Joy shifted in her seat. So you're saying critics should just stop? Jennifer shook her head. No, I'm saying critics should be honest about what bothers them. Joy frowned. And what do you think bothers them? Jennifer looked out at the audience, then back at Joy. A woman who doesn't ask permission. The reaction was immediate. Applause surged, strong, sustained. A few people stood without realizing they were standing. Joy forced a smile. That's very dramatic. Jennifer smiled back. So is being constantly misunderstood. Whoopi stepped in smoothly. All right, let's bring this back to the project. But the mood had changed permanently. The remaining questions felt smaller now, less important. Jennifer answered them politely, professionally, but the fire from earlier still burned beneath every word. Joy listened, nodding, but she no longer interrupted. As the segment wrapped up, Whoopi thanked Jennifer for being there. Applause followed, this time louder, more emotional, charged with something unresolved. Jennifer stood, hugged Whoopi warmly, nodded at Sunny and Sarah. Then she turned to Joy. The hug was brief, polite, controlled. Joy whispered something, maybe no hard feelings. Jennifer smiled slightly, but said nothing. As Jennifer walked off the stage, the cameras caught it clearly. She exhaled deeply the moment she passed the curtain. Backstage, the atmosphere was electric. Producers stared at screens filled with live reactions. Assistants scrolled through phones, eyes widening. It's trending already, someone said. Clips are everywhere. People are picking sides fast. Jennifer's publicist approached her carefully. That was intense. Jennifer nodded. It was honest. On set, Joy removed her microphone the moment the cameras cut. This is going to be a mess, she muttered. Whoopi looked at her seriously. Sometimes messes tell the truth. Joy didn't respond. By the time the show ended, the moment had already escaped the studio. Short clips stripped of context flooded timelines. Slow-motion edits highlighted Jennifer's calm, Joy's pauses. Captions screamed J.Lo snaps and Joy Behar shut down, and most tense view moment ever. The internet did what it always does, it amplified. Jennifer sat in her car, phone buzzing non-stop beside her. Messages poured in from fellow artists, from women she admired, from people she'd never met. Thank you for saying it. I felt that. You were brave. She stared out the window, city moving past her, and for the first time that day, her shoulders relaxed. Joy sat alone in her dressing room, scrolling quietly. Praise. Criticism. Headlines forming in real time. She set the phone down and stared at her reflection. Somewhere between intention and impact, something had shifted. And neither of them could take it back now. By the next morning, the confrontation had fully escaped the boundaries of the view and entered something bigger. Something louder, messier, and impossible to control. It wasn't just a clip anymore. It was a moment. Morning news shows opened with it. Entertainment panels froze frames of Jennifer Lopez mid-sentence, her expression calm but unyielding. Social media feeds filled with side-by-side screenshots, Jennifer leaning forward, Joy Behar leaning back. Commentators slowed the footage, analyzing tone, posture, pauses. Every breath became evidence. Every word became a headline. Jennifer Lopez calls out Joy Behar live. The view moment that split America. Was J.Lo right, or did she go too far? Audience members from the studio began posting their own accounts. One woman wrote that she'd never seen a daytime show go so quiet. Another said the tension felt like a courtroom, not a talk show. A man in the back row admitted he stopped clapping because he didn't know which side he was on. That uncertainty was everywhere. Jennifer Lopez did not do a victory lap. She didn't post celebratory captions. She didn't give a sit-down interview to clear things up. Instead, she went dark, no appearances, no statements, no softening of what had happened. That silence spoke volumes. Paparazzi caught her later that week leaving a rehearsal space, hair pulled back, sunglasses on, jaw set. The photos ran with captions asking if she was angry, unbothered, or regretful. None of them were right. What she was finished explaining herself. Privately, people close to Jennifer said the moment had been building for years. That it wasn't just about Joy Behar. It was about decades of being asked why she was still here, still visible, still ambitious. About being praised for resilience but punished for confidence. The interview didn't change her. It exposed a boundary she was no longer willing to let anyone cross. Joy Behar, meanwhile, found herself under a microscope she knew well, but this time, she was on the other side of it. Some defended her fiercely. That's her job, they said. She asks questions. Others weren't so forgiving, accusing her of embodying the very double standards she'd spent her career criticizing. Feminist commentators debated it endlessly. Was Joy holding Jennifer accountable, or holding her back? Joy addressed it briefly on the next episode. I ask questions, she said, looking straight into the camera. Sometimes people don't like the questions. She didn't name Jennifer. She didn't apologize. She didn't escalate either. The audience reaction was polite, but noticeably restrained. Behind the scenes, producers at The View reportedly held meetings about tone, pacing, and how quickly conversations could spiral when power dynamics collided on live television. Other talk shows paid attention. Guests became more guarded. Hosts became more careful. Something had shifted. Late-night hosts joked about it without joking about it. Actors hinted at it in interviews. Musicians reposted clips with subtle captions, single words like "few," or "needed," or "watch this twice." The moment had become a mirror. For some viewers, Jennifer Lopez represented a woman finally refusing to be boxed in by expectations of age, of gender, of likability. For others, Joy Behar represented the right to ask uncomfortable questions in a culture that increasingly pushes back against criticism. What made the clash unforgettable wasn't shouting or insults or anyone storming off the set. It was restraint. Two women, two generations, two definitions of power, sitting at the same table, unwilling to yield. Weeks later, a media professor described it perfectly in a viral clip. This wasn't about ego. It was about framing. About who gets to decide when a woman has said enough, shown enough, lived enough. That clip went viral too. Jennifer eventually broke her silence, not in an interview, but during a live performance. Between songs, she paused, looked out at the crowd, and said quietly, "I'm not here to be smaller." The crowd erupted. Joy Behar watched that clip later, according to people close to her. She didn't comment. She just nodded once and turned the phone face down. The story slowly stopped trending. Hashtags faded. New controversies replaced it. But the moment stayed, because it tapped into something deeper than celebrity drama. It asked a question a lot of people recognized in their own lives. When does questioning become diminishing? And who gets to decide? Now, we want to hear from you. Was Jennifer Lopez right to stand her ground the way she did? Did Joy Behar cross a line? Or was she simply doing her job? Drop your honest opinion in the comments below. This is a conversation, not a verdict. And if you want more cinematic, explosive breakdowns of the moments celebrities never expect, but can't escape, subscribe to Prime Talk, hit like, and share this story with someone who's still thinking about it. Because on Prime Talk, the real drama doesn't end when the show cuts to commercial.